can just return to Mike. Mike, you were saying something a little earlier about, well, why you still stay with us, and that was different about our organisation, which really surprised me, because I think you've got a much wider life experience in organisations with people with learning disabilities and disabilities in general on a fairly regular basis, whereas my experiences have perhaps been a bit more intermittent. Could you expand on what you said earlier?
Well, I suppose I've only really been involved with learning disabilities properly over the last 5 years, but I've been involved with sort of physical disability and a bit of mental health for 20, 25 years at least. But what I suppose instantly attracted me about MFT was the levelness of the organisation, that it isn't really hierarchical. The relationships are much stronger and much more even within the organisation. So within the organisation, you do have people that do have responsibilities. You have the farm workers, the people that are receiving the service. You have volunteers. You have the car drivers, etc. But it's there. It's not really there. It's a sort of an unspoken evenness. Really about how the organisation works, and therefore, you can actually talk to people and deal with people on a much simpler basis. Which actually makes the whole organisation quite cohesive.
We've always felt that everybody's ideas matter, and that we should try hard to listen to everybody. Doesn't matter if it's a car driver who comes to pick somebody up at night, but they're coming on a regular basis. They know their passengers well. They're getting to know us well, and they sometimes perceive things that we don't perceive. Equally well, the farm workers sitting around the table when we have our coffee break or our lunch break, they may ask a question about woodwork or tractors, or they may come up with an idea about an activity that they want to do. It's not always possible to do it there and then, but that's important.
I tell you what it is, is everyone is actually respected for their abilities and what they're able to contribute.
Really? We try to do that, but you...
I think that's the first thing that I sort of noticed when I came in contact with the organisation, again from the website in the first place, really, and someone mentioning to me who was involved with MFT, the sort of things that the organisation gets up to. But even at that first stage, it was that element of respect. And I think it was one of the farm workers at the time when I admitted that I was actually quite good at woodworking and those sorts of skills, but I didn't actually know a great deal about livestock or working in the fields. And they said, well, if you are going to come and work with us, then I'll teach you all about that.
And they do.
Yeah,
they do. And I think both Hugo and Victoria have witnessed that. Would that be true to say? And it's important that they may speak a bit slower or think a bit slower, but they've got a hell of a lot to come out.
Yes,
they have.
Absolutely, yeah.
Definitely.
What about you, Bernadette? What do you think? What do you think is a unique?
It's difficult because I've been involved from day one, haven't I? I think I've been totally surprised at the commitment of people that we've had over the years and the energy, and that definitely makes. I'm myself and Chris and Philip possibly as being the oldest, and David, probably the oldest, longest standing members now, can probably see the biggest benefits, but what people bring, they don't always realise what they bring into an organisation. And as you were saying earlier, you're cold and you're shivering, we're sitting here with our hats and we have very limited computing, printing facilities, we have lots of limitations, and yet we do have to look at what has been achieved and what we all get out of it. Yes, it's for our farm workers, but it's the joy of sharing with others, the joy of seeing others progress, the joy of us learning things and helping. It could be farm workers, it could be the families of farm workers, it could be just sharing information about woodwork, about planting leeks, harvesting leeks, or making contact with where we're selling them. I think it's important that everybody has a chance to develop their potential.
Absolutely.